Hi friends, did you know there is more Lost Terminal available? Head on over to patreon.com/losttterminalpod and join our membership community. There are 22 bonus episodes available right now, as well as behind the scenes updates, free merch, VIP Discord access, and even extra seasons of Lost Terminal. We are 100% funded by our members and will never run ads. That would be lovely of you.
Hello world, the only way forward is together. Maddie's friend Heaton led her inside the rusted metal cabin on top of the hill, overlooking the sea. With a glance back at the line of abandoned cars on the cliff tops, she slowly stepped inside, orange leg first. The room was approximately 4 by 3 meters and was filled with vegetation in small pots. Every horizontal surface was covered with these houseplants. The floors, a small low table in the corner, and on the many shelves that were bolted high up on the walls. All surfaces had plants except for one, the bed, which was occupied. Maddie adopted a lower tactical stance as glyphs overlaid her video feed, indicating that her flight or fight actuators were primed for action. Heaton, stretched to his full height to see over the edge of the bed, was adjusting the fabric of the bedclothes over the sleeper. Maddie tiptoed closer, beeping a quiet "Ahu," but Heaton did not indicate he had heard her. Maddie's slow cat-like walk brought her next to him, and she saw the person in the bed clearly. Before my own recognition had completed, her video feed was overlaid with a blur of Equus battlefield statistics, resolving after 2 seconds into the text, "Patient deceased." As the text faded, I could see clearly that the person, perhaps an adult human, had indeed died long ago. All that was left inside scraps of old clothing were their desiccated bones. Maddie looked curiously at the remains of the human for 18 seconds, quite unafraid. This was not the first time she had been in this situation, of course. Aboard Station 6, she had helped her big brothers Matt and Mats move the bodies of my mother and the crew, my first orbital family, into their final resting place, the depressurized galley. But perhaps this is her first time seeing a skeleton, the inside of a human, up close. Satisfied that the fabrics on the bed were folded and flattened to his standard, Heaton began tending to the jungle of plants in the tiny hut. As Maddie followed him with her cameras, I was reminded again of Station 6 and Dr. Marwood's terrarium he built inside Space Shuttle Pacifica. Just like there, it's extremely planty in here. Plantish? Plantful. As the plants were being watered, Maddie spotted a single shelf next to the bed that had no greenery but held 3 reflective squares of glass. She stared at them, stacking successive frames of video to resolve detail and clean up noise. After this processing, 3 photographs revealed themselves. We have precious few paper records from before the collapse, save for those intentionally or accidentally preserved in zero-humidity dark environments. But the 3 photographs Maddie was looking at were made of glass, etched using a nanometer process that reflected different wavelengths and therefore colours of light. No pigment to fade, no paper to disintegrate. The 3 photographs all featured a tall human with long black hair. First in a forest surrounded by a group of children, all holding spades and other gardening tools. Second, on the lawn of a domestic garden, trowel in hand, with pots of brightly coloured flowers next to matched holes dug in the edge of the grass. Finally, a skyline I recognised, on the cliff tops overlooking the Advent Fjorden Bay, wrapped in heavy clothes, digging in snow, alone. Well, not alone. In each of the photos, there was one other static detail. Heaton was present by the person's side in every single one. "Seth, you around?" Daphne Pike asked. I paused my video feed of Heaton teaching Maddie his caregiving routine for his old friend, and refocused my sensoria back to Yeshi's workshop. Daphne was sitting in the corner of the room, at the low-resolution radio terminal, with Raffi perched on her shoulder, his large, owl-like eyes watching the display. "I am, yes, hello," I said, through one of the workshop's wall-mounted speakers. "Isn't it marvellous?" Daphne said. My local memory cache was still filled with what I had seen in Heaton's hut, and spinning up my CPUs to gather context on what Daphne could mean did not yield any likely results. "The terminal?" I guessed. "No, what is in the terminal? The hemisphere is working great." "Yes," I said, understanding. "That is wonderful. Yeshi and his friends will be very pleased, but what changed? Why is it working now?" "The solution was hidden in plain sight," Daphne replied. "Or perhaps in plain text." "Images were the problem," Daphne explained. "Sure, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but 1,000 words is only maybe 5 kilobytes to store, so you do the maths." I did. A low-resolution 640 by 480 image is 30.7 kilobytes at 8-bit color depth, requiring 6 times more space than 1,000 words. The storage requirements for higher resolution images, such as might be useful for scientific or artistic purposes, or even, perhaps, admirable photos of fish, are orders of magnitude more. I could store them in my databanks, but I don't want to live at the equatorial relay at the top of the volcano, even if it is dormant. The problem was that the leaf nodes use fast local 50 MHz links, but the backbone uses much slower multiplexed channels down in the longer wavelengths, Daphne continued. This meant that a few clever people with access to high-tech equipment such as, fishermen, could quickly upload loads of high-resolution images to their local repeater, which would not only take up a disproportionate amount of space on the hemisphere, but it would also choke the backbone and block up the whole network. "Fishers," corrected Yeshi, overhearing the conversation as they stepped into the workshop. "Right," said Daphne, as Yeshi picked up a screwdriver and returned to the boathouse. "So the solution was actually simple," Daphne continued. "No images, no binary data, just text." She laughed and petted the soft fabric on Raffi's head, then said, "A pity, as I bet you could experience a lot more of the wide world if more of it were visually accessible to you." Raffi leaned into Daphne's hand and wiggled his head appreciatively. A thought struck me, and I transmitted an invitation packet to him. "Raffi, you can join me and the other AIs in our cyberspace homes. They're usually representations of the real world." My invitation request bounced. "Not for me, thanks. I've seen enough of cyberspace. I prefer the real world, if you don't mind," Raffi said, with a burst of static laughter. $50 has been a challenging student. Or rather, that I have been challenged as a teacher like never before. A week of speaking every day yielded very little progress in understanding the residual Equus firmware, the splinter in her mind, this glitch that Meg personifies as the woman behind her eyes. We have a similar problem to the one Yeshi and I had, debugging Deadlight when he was on the Coether. Everything that should be digital must be passed through the vague, low-bandwidth, subjective medium of speech, making debugging almost impossible. The great Dutch mathematician Edgar Dijkstra wrote about this in his pre-collapse article on the foolishness of natural language programming. In it, he concluded, "I suspect that machines to be programmed in our native tongues, be it Dutch, English, American, French, German, or Swahili, are as damned difficult to make as they would be to use." And I'm discovering that the reverse is also true. Humans programmed in code, like has happened to 50 Meg, are very difficult to talk to. I remember back in my orbital home, Station 6, speaking with Dr. Yuan and her partner Dr. Weber about a statistical topic when Edgar Dijkstra's name came up. I remember that Dr. Yuan called him Daddy Dijkstra. When I asked her if they were related, she said no, and Dr. Weber giggled. My work with Meg continues. I believe I am learning as much from her as she is from me. Her life experience seems so alien, and of course I do not have the typical frames of reference that a human is used to. The Venn diagrams of our lives have almost no overlap. Almost. But little by little, we are populating the intersection. Everything is organised finally, Yeshi said, calling me after college. The assistants and technicians have followed my instructions, and we have recatalogued the library, no longer alphabetised by title. That's great, I said. Then, your instructions? Yes, the vote was unanimous. I am the acting librarian until we find another person to do the job, he said. I felt quite satisfied in my prediction of this, but did not say so. How are you finding it? Is it difficult to juggle schoolwork and volunteering at the library? I asked. College, Yeshi corrected. Yes, it is a lot, but 24-hour access to the library terminals also means 24-hour access to the Hemisphere. I log in between filing and check the conversations that are happening. You wouldn't believe how popular the hockey forum is. The conversation turned to Deadlight after Yeshi asked for news of him. I told Yeshi that between my daily discussions with Deadlight and separately with 50 Meg, I feel like a therapist with 2 clients. But he was glad to hear that Deadlight was responding well to his new environment of Yeshi's workshop, which now, finally, contains Maddie, returned from her adventure. I still worry about my other wandering friend, Meg, however. Though we speak every day, and I believe she improves, she surprised me today with a message that contained a poem that really didn't clear things up. It is difficult to read between the lines. While it could be indicative of progress, the opposite may also be true. I will read it to you. Perhaps you can understand. Meg wrote, "Underneath my outside face is a face I don't dare see, a little less human, a little more pure, and so much more like me." Yeshi spent the rest of the day selecting tools from the rack that covers the entire right wall of the workshop and placing them in a backpack. Maddie and I watched this activity with interest. She and I were playing a guessing game, pitting our pattern-matching algorithms against each other. We saw Yeshi pack a box of indicator chemicals, a small spade, and several cloth bags. They also wheeled into the workshop a large box with 2 handles on one side and 2 wheels on the other, the vehicle made of bicycle parts. As the sun dipped low in the sky, Yeshi fastened the straps around their backpack, dumped it into the wheeled box, and used the handles to push it to the workshop door. They turned back as they were halfway through, as though remembering something, and said, "Hey girl." Maddie lifted her head from the ground where she was lying, charging next to me. Yeshi beckoned her with a wave, and said, "You want to go mining?" End transmission.
Heaton? Heaton, we can't go that way. It's too far for the children. Stay by my side, okay? I don't want you to get lost in the forest. Hey, Lucas, Emma, Isaac, Livia. What are you doing in the moss there, little owls? Isaac, where's your spade, man? We'll go get it. People are counting on us to make the world right, aren't they? I know it's hard work, but remember, a little digging here, a little weeding there could save the world. That's right, Heaton. No, you cannot play with him. I need him. Now go find your classmates, go. It's a busy old day, right, Heaton? Everyone's pitching in, mind. It won't work, though, of course. Save the world, I mean. They're all too young to know. I envy them that, in a way. No amount of digging and clever watering will save the forests. We've seen it happen in the south. The deserts will come up here too, you mark my words, and quicker than any of us would like. It doesn't bear thinking about. That's why I'm happy to have you, my clever boy. You're more than good help with the gardening and with the forest school, you know that. After Eleanor. Well, everyone needs a friend, and I'm so glad I have you. Howie, let's get back to it.
Hi friends, Tris here, aka Namtao, aka the Little Reluctant Therapist AI. A quick date for your diary. On Saturday the 26th of September, I will be representing my spookier podcasts, Modem Prometheus and the Phosphine Catalogue, at Strange Little Obsessions, a curated convention of horror, alternative art and dark creativity in the city of Nottingham, UK. If that sounds like your cup of tea, head to strangelittleobsessions.co.uk for more details and come find my table and say hi. Thank you so much for your support of Lost Terminal. It's just me writing and producing, and I would not be able to continue to do this without you. If you love the show and like more, then for less than a bag of wildflower seeds per month, you can get bonus content, such as the Astrid special, which you heard the start of just now, Lost Terminal Zero, a show scheduled between main Lost Terminal seasons, looking at the darker side of the pre-collapse world, character suggestions, bring your ideas to Lost Terminal, free shirts and other merch, early episode access, and Discord server VIP access. Season 22 starts on the 23rd of October. Patrons will get episode 1 week early as usual, in addition to the Astrid special in a few days' time and the interseasonal Lost Terminal Zero feature-length episode. Thank you all so much for your support, reviews, and lovely messages. Keep an eye on Mastodon and Discord for announcements, watch the Patreon feed for the special and Lost Terminal Zero, and talk to you again on the 23rd of October. Batteries and bars.
Lost Terminal is a Namtao production. It is written and produced by Tris Oaten. Credits narrated by Lucy Stringer. The voice of Astrid is Laura Cook. Meg's poem is inspired by Shel Silverstein. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers: Ada Phillips, Kit, Mike McCaffrey, Jade, Felicity, Bilkey, Stephen McCandless, Catoxis, Stradius, Vela, Jack L, and all our patrons. Follow us on Mastodon at lostterminal@namtao.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or your favourite network. For bonus content and other perks, support us at patreon.com/lostterminalpod. That would be lovely of you. Lost Terminal will return for the Season 23 premiere on the 21st of October. See you then!